So first of all, let me take you through uh, our research hub section. So TechOps Hub is an AI product score. We focus majorly on engineering focus area. So we are more into nurturing new generation of tech entrepreneurs, but entirely we are an AI product score. So that's basically it. And so far, from our repositories, we have different types of repositories. So we have the 12 months JavaScript focused software engineering roadmap. We have the Python focused 12 months software engineering roadmap. And then here we have different groups like group 1, hub 3. And then here we have this for a specific student called Eva. She's from USAU. This is in hub 1. So she's a little bit different because she always has she always has her classes in the morning with us. We always have classes from 6 to around 8, sometimes from 7 to around 9, depending with her schedule, but majorly that is how it is. And then this is the tech entrepreneurship course outline, so it's also a little bit detailed there. And then we have mini tests. We have group 2, hub 2. We have now different kinds of projects down here. So you can take time to review them. Here we have group 3, hub 2, group 4, hub 2, group 1, hub 2, and that is just it. But today I would like to just take you through these two areas, the 12 months JavaScript focused software engineering roadmap and the Python focused 12 months software engineering roadmap. So to begin with the 12-month JavaScript focused, let me just click here. So so this is a very interesting area because first and foremost, before you get to start coding or building any solution, you need to understand the core fundamentals of programming, and JavaScript, Python, these are the core programming languages that are very, very important. So uh, in module 1 to 2, we have the JavaScript fundamentals and problem solving, where the goal is to master JavaScript basics and foundational problem solving. So here you will learn the core JavaScript concepts like variables, data types, operators, loops, conditionals, functions, recursion, scope, closures, and then we have what we call ES6 plus features like arrow functions, template literals, destructuring, modules, default parameters, and then under programming practices, we have debugging, console, error handling, for the basic algorithms, we have sorting, and under sorting, we have bubble, insertion, selection, and also we have searching, where we have linear and binary. And then in data structures, we have arrays, stacks, queues. Then Git and GitHub, we have basic version control, sorry. We have commits, we have branching, we have pull requests. And then we have what we call mini project, the CLI-based JavaScript utility, e.g. calculator, to-do list. And then in module 3 to 4, we have what we call advanced JavaScript and data structure. So here you'll be able to deepen your JavaScript knowledge and algorithmic thinking. We also have what we call advanced JavaScript, where we're looking at prototypes, classes, inheritance, event loops, async JavaScript like callbacks, promises, and then also we have async and await. So these are also core areas that are very key in helping you to understand JavaScript at an advanced level. And here you'll be looking at areas to do with memory management and scope, software design principles like solid, dry, keys, modularity. Then we have advanced data structures like linked lists, trees, hash tables, recursion patterns, greedy algorithms, dynamic programming. Then we have testing. So under testing, we have what we call unit testing with Jest. And then also we have basic TDD practices. Then after every section, or rather after every module, there's a mini project that you're supposed to do. And here we have a mini project where you're supposed to come up with an algorithmic heavy exercises on data structure manipulation tools. So these are just some of the things that you'll be looking at as you scale, as you continue. And then we have module 5 to 6, front-end development with React.js and Next.js. So here, we expect that up to this juncture, you've been able to build your foundations on JavaScript. So now we expect that you can start to understand the kinds of frameworks to use, like React.js, Next.js. And the goal here is to build interactive user interfaces. So the concept is to ensure that using JavaScript concepts, you can now start building interactive interfaces using React.js and Next.js. So here you learn React basics like components, props, state, lifecycle methods, and hooks. Also, you will be able to learn Next.js fundamentals like pages, routing, API routes, server-side rendering basics, And then also we have what we call state management like context API, Redux, which is actually optional for scale. And then we have what we call forms and validation. So here we'll be looking at controlled or uncontrolled inputs. Also, we have what we call validation libraries. And then we have UI UX and responsive design. So here we're looking at CSS, Tailwind, and also we have accessibility practices. Very important. And for a mini project, we'll be looking at building a personal portfolio site with Next.js and also responsive design and multiple pages. In module 7 to 8, we have what we call backend development with Node.js plus Express. I'm not so sure if you've interacted with Node.js before. So Node.js is rather Node.js and Express. They're mostly used in building backend solutions or rather backend logic. So the goal here is to build APIs and server-side logic. And here you'll be looking at Node.js fundamentals like event loops, modules, file systems. And then we have what we call Express basics like routing, middleware, and error handling. And then for the databases, we have what we call MongoDB or in bracket NoSQL. And then we have Postgres SQL and CRUD operations. And then now we have what we call authentication and authorization. So here we're looking at things to do with JWT, sessions, all-out basics, and stuff like that. For the mini project, we'll be looking at REST API for a simple task manager or blog application. And then we have module 9, where we're looking at full stack integration. So here the goal is to connect front end and back end seamlessly. And there's something called API, and definitely in JavaScript or rather in React.js, when it comes to API consumption, there's what we call fetch, and then also we have Axios in React stroke Next.js. And then end-to-end CRUD applications like full stack user registration, product listing, or note-taking application. So when we get to this part, you'll be focusing more on building APIs that you can use to that you can use to do various kinds of tasks, from registrations, product listings, note-taking applications, and stuff like that. And then we have what we call error handling and logging. So here we are looking at global error handling, console logging, and user feedback. So for a mini project, we'll be looking at a full stack note-taking or to-do application with React frontend plus Node.js on the backend, and also we have what we call MongoDB there. Let's look at module 10. So module 10, let's look at what we call deployment and DevOps basics. So here, we're looking at how you can be able to deploy applications and also be able to manage production environments. So we'll be looking at what we call containerization, where Docker basics will be our core area. We'll be looking at container setup. And also for hosting and deployment, we have Vercel, we have Railways, we have Render, we have Heroku. For our CI/CD pipelines, we have GitHub Actions and automated deployments. Then for our environment management, we have what we call environment variables and secrets there. Then for mini projects, we have to deploy previous full stack projects live. So that is all about module 10. We are looking at deployment and DevOps basics, very, very important for us. And then let's look at module 11 to 12. So now this is also a very interesting area, because now we're looking at what we call capstone projects. And the goal here is to build production-ready, deployable JavaScript applications in key domains. So from our fintech project, we're looking at a buy now, pay later platform. In short, it's BNPL. And this platform is supposed to have a payment gateway and also supposed to have an expense tracker. The key features here is one, authentication, two, transaction management, and three, analytics. Then for our agri-tech project, we have what we call farm management system or marketplace for agro products. And then for the features, we have inventory, we have product catalog, we have orders, and also we have notifications. In the health tech project, we have what we call telemedicine appointment app or a health record dashboard. For the features, we have roles like patient or doctor, we have CRUD, we have real-time updates. From For our prop tech projects, prop tech projects basically these are property kinds of tech projects like real estate, surveys, land, and stuff like that. It's all about property, right? So we're looking at property listing platforms or even tenant management systems. And for the features, we'll be looking at search, filters, payments, and bookings. Then we have what we call software engineering tooling project. Here we'll be looking at a project management tool or developer portfolio dashboard. Features, we're looking at Kanban board, task tracking, and also API integrations. For our capstone execution plan, we have weeks 1 to 2. So these dates are not up to they're not fixed. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to mean. At the end of the day, you realize there's some flexibility in terms of how you'll be building the projects, how you'll be consulting, and also how you'll be learning in the process. So the key outcomes by module 12 is you'll be able to become an expert level JavaScript full stack developer where you build on Node.js plus React.js plus Next.js. And also you'll be able to gain strong algorithmic and problem solving skills. And also you'll be able to build, rather have an ability to design, build, and deploy production grade applications. And also you'll be able to build a portfolio of domain specific projects in fintech, agriculture, or rather agri-tech, health tech, prop tech, and software tooling. So that is just all around JavaScript. And it cuts across even when it comes to Python programming, because let me just go to Python a little bit. So Python is also almost the same, and this one is a little bit more aligned because you realize that we rather was able to ensure everything is well connected. So from scratch, from phase 0 to the last bit, and this one is a little bit more chunked down well. So this one starts from phase 0 where you focus on orientation and setup. So here you first of all have to install Python, and these are things that you really need to have installed in your system as early as now. You need to have Python, the latest Python version installed. You need to have VS Code installed. You need to have Git, Docker, and then you have to set up your GitHub account and workflow. So here you'll be looking at things like commits, branches, and PRs. Then you'll have to configure virtual environments, be able to come up with various types of project structures, which is very, very important. You need to plan your personal portfolio project ideas effectively. And then phase 1, we'll be looking at Python fundamentals like the core Python. This is like week 1 to week 2. So here we'll be looking at variables, data types, operators, loops, conditionals, functions, modules and packages. And a project here will be as simple as coming up with a command line calculator, and then we'll look at intermediate Python. So under intermediate Python, you'll be looking at lists, tuples, dictionaries, sets, very important. Then we have list comprehensions, generators. Then we have file input and output, exemptions, then debugging there. And then we have personal project that you can try and build. It's just a simple one to get you started. So here we're looking at what you call a personal expense tracker, which is very, very important to just enhance your skills as you are learning Python programming. And then thereafter, we look at OP and functional Python. So here we'll be looking at classes, inheritance, encapsulation. Then we have decorators, closures, lambda functions. And then for our project, we'll be looking at library management system. That's the CLI. Very important. Then phase two, here we have data structures and algorithms, which is also very, very interesting because we'll be looking at linear data structures like lists, stacks, queues, arrays. Then also we have searching and basic sorting. Then for the projects, we'll be looking at task scheduler like the CLI. And then we have trees and hashing. So under trees and hashing, we have what you call binary trees, BST, traversals, hash maps, sets. For the project, we have a phone book application, which is also very interesting. Then weeks 11 to 12, we have graphs and recursion. So under graphs and recursions, we are talking about graph representations like the BFS and DFS. Then we have recursion and also divide and conquer. For the project, we have what you call a maze solver. Maze solver. So maze solver is basically graph traversal. And then the advanced level, we're looking at advanced algorithms and optimization. So here we'll be looking at dynamic programming, memorization, you can name them. And then also we have complexity analysis. So here we're looking at big O, the big O. I don't know if you know about the big O. For our project, we'll be looking at algorithm challenge mini portfolio. And then now we'll scale to now backend development. You remember when talking about JavaScript, we looked at React.js and Next.js as our core backend frameworks. So on this other end, we're looking at now a different framework, but majorly for Python. So here we're looking at Fast API basics. So Fast API is one of the backend tools used by Python. And then also I'll introduce you to another one. So we have Fast API basics, where we'll be looking at REST API creation, CRUD endpoints. Then we have path stroke query parameters. Then we have Pydantic validation. And then for our project, we're looking at blog API. Very important. So also we have what we call Django fundamentals. And under Django fundamentals, we're looking at project and app setup, ORM, migrations. Then we have here user authentication and authorization. For our project, we are talking about building an e-commerce backend. So for our e-commerce backend, we're looking at things to do with products, users, and orders. Then we have what we call databases. So for our databases, we're looking at SQL, Postgres SQL basics, very important. Then for our ORM, we're looking at ORM advanced queries, and also we have relationships there. For projects, we're looking at notes applications with relational databases, very important. And then now here we're looking at API testing and integration, where we're looking at Postman, automated testing with PyTest, logging, error handling, API documentation. For the project, we have what we call full-featured blog or dashboard API. I believe we are good up to that juncture. Then in phase 4, now we are looking at essential front-end. I know we have talked about JavaScript already, so this shouldn't be a big issue. For the basics, we have HTML and CSS basics. This one will teach you about responsive design. And then we have what we call minimal JavaScript for API integration. Then we have React.js stroke Next.js. Here we're looking at components, state, and API fetch, which could be optional there. For our project, your work will majorly to connect the front end to the Python backend. So you can try to maybe build a portfolio website there to give you a glimpse of how that actually will work. And then now we're looking at product development and system design, which is also very, very important. We are looking at product development and system design here, where you'll be able to plan your MVP. come up with requirements, wireframes, and also user flow. And then for the modular backend design, looking at RESTful API best practices. And then now here we have JWT, all-out 2 authentication, input validation, security there. So for the project aspect, you'll be looking at how to secure a full stack MVP. So MVP basically is what you call minimum viable product. So your work majorly is to secure it entirely. Very important. And in phase 6, we're looking at DevOps and deployment. So we have GitHub workflows, CI/CD basics. For Docker, we have containerized Python apps, deploy apps to Heroku, AWS, or Vercel. Then we have logging, monitoring, environment variables. For our project, deploying full stack MVP, very important. So we have what we call capstone projects, and this is in phase 7. So for our capstone projects, we're looking at you need to choose what we call real world projects. If it's fintech, it's fintech. If it's e-learning, it's e-learning. If it's social platform, it's social platform. For our backend development, we're looking at Fast API or Django. And for our front-end integration, we're looking at working with React.js at a minimal rate level. And then we are also looking at authentication databases, which is very, very interesting here. Then we have testing, debugging, deployment. And then for our project, you'll be using cloud to deploy your project and also ensure that you have a portfolio ready application just to get you started. So in our milestone summary from week 6 to the last bits, we're looking at CLI Python projects portfolio, algorithm and data structures mini portfolio, fully functional Python backend applications, front-end integration for portfolio, secure MVP ready, deployed full stack application, capstone project live and documented. So up to this juncture, that is all about the Python and JavaScript software engineering roadmap to get you started. So it's very intact, and once we are here, now it means that you can start to build amazing solutions. But before we get there, there's a tech entrepreneurship course outline here that I wanted you to also have an understanding on. So this one is very detailed because it gives you a rough perspective on not just the technical aspect, but also the entrepreneurship aspect bit of it. Because remember, we're not just building solutions, we are trying to also see how we can be able to scale those solutions from a business level. So this TechOps Hub open source training program is a 12-month intensive program designed to transform aspiring tech entrepreneurs into innovators capable of developing and even launching market-ready products. So the curriculum integrates hands-on technical training with entrepreneurial skills, emphasizing real-world open source contributions, team collaboration, and even sector-specific projects across fintech, clean technology, agri-tech, edtech, and even a strong focus on prompt engineering and AI stroke ML solutions. So here, participants get to choose self-paced or cohort-based learning. And the key thing is to ensure that they can be able to build what we call a robust portfolio, earning an industry recognized certificate, and even receiving mentorship. Receiving mentorship to navigate the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So let's look at the program objectives here. Let's look at the program objectives. So the first objective is technical mastery. So here you're supposed to gain proficiency in programming. And I think up to this juncture, you already have a clue around what is expected of you when building through or rather learning the core things in software.
Yeah,
And
sure.
also we are looking at entrepreneurial excellence, where you're supposed to master ideation, market validation, business planning, and even scaling strategies with an emphasis on AI-driven innovation. Then we have what we call real-world impact, where you're supposed to contribute to open source projects and even launch what we call a minimum viable product in a chosen tech sector, leveraging AI and prompt engineering. For your career acceleration, we're looking at how you can be able to develop a portfolio and even network for launching startups, freelancing, or even joining tech firms with expertise in AI applications. For the program structure, this is structured in 48 weeks, which means that it's very flexible, self-paced, and even co-op-based, depending with your interest. But uh, for purposes of this, we are really more focused on ensuring that you can move at your own pace, but also the cohort bit is there, very structured. So the delivery is online. The coding challenges are online, peer reviews are done online. There's also live mentorships like these ones, and then also there's GitHub based projects which are very, very important. So for specializations, we have fintech, we have clean technology, we have agri-tech, we have edtech, we have prompt engineering, we have Web3 and blockchain. Also, we have mobile and app development, AI and ML solutions. You can name them. The outcomes is to ensure that first of all, you have what you call a personal portfolio. You have open source contributions, industry certification, market ready MVP, and investor pitch experience. Um, for group work and collaboration, so a core pillar of the program is actually group based learning and building. This is basically to help us, or rather to help you simulate the startup ecosystem. The reason why we actually were emphasizing on group work is to ensure that you can be able to communicate with one another, get to learn from peers, and also build through. So for students in various institutions are actually encouraged to form groups in those institutions and get to build from there. And now when it comes to pitching, we get to do that together as a team. So how is the team set up? How does it look like? So we have formation of teams, and these teams are teams of 3 to 5 members created in weeks 3 to 4 once participants have gained what you call the technical foundations. And then for diversity, there's balanced by specialization, where skill sets like coding, design, business, and even are interest based. So for stability, you realize that teams get to work together through all program phases from idea to launching. So roles and rotations, for roles and rotations, you realize that the tech lead gets to manage the architecture or the code quality and integrations. And then for the product manager, they get to handle the roadmap or the backlog or even the sprint reviews. Then for the UI UX designer, they lead the user flow design and usability testing, very important. And then we have what you call, or rather who we call the growth lead. So the growth lead focuses on user acquisition, market research, partnerships, you can name them. Then we have who we call a contributor or a generalist who adapts to team needs and even gets to support all the functions. So here, you realize that the roles rotate at least once, ensuring everyone gains multidisciplinary startup experience, very important. And then now we have what we call group deliverables per phase. So here, we're looking at foundations, then development, then mastery. Foundation, this is where we're looking at team idea validation plus individual CLI projects. Then we have development. So under development, we're looking at full stack prototypes plus team business canvas. And then mastery. Mastery, we're looking at scaled MVP plus investor pitch plus demo day showcases. And tools for collaboration, GitHub is basically one of them, very important. And as you can see, we are actually learning from GitHub, right? So through GitHub, we'll be looking at repos, issues, PRs, actions, and then we have Slack and Discord for the communication. But again, WhatsApp is also great. I think everyone is always live on WhatsApp here in Kenya, so it's also super nice. But Discord and Slack are very professional. And I actually like to encourage all my students to use to get used to using Slack or Discord, but majorly Slack. Then we have Notion. Notion is mostly used for documentation and for models. Then we have Figma or Miro, which is good for UI and brainstorming. Then we have Trello or Jira, So Trello or Jira basically is just good for sprinting and coming up with agile tracking. Then we have evaluation criteria. So here we are looking at technical quality of code and MVP. Then we have agile execution and sprint accountability. Then we have market validation and traction metrics. Then we have business readiness like pitch, monetization, model, you can name them. So there's something called demo day and investor pitching. So here the program concludes with a demo day modeled after leading accelerators. So the format looks like this. The pitch is supposed to take at most 7 minutes, where you talk about the problem, the solution, the traction, the AI edge, and the business model. Then for a live demo, you have to do a walkthrough of the MVP. Very, very important. And then for Q&A, so here you'll be connected with an investor or a mentor for feedback majorly. Then we have deliverables for a demo day. So here we're looking at deployed MVP, like the live and the tested. Then you'll be having at least a 10 slide investor pitch deck, then also maybe a 5-page business plan, and then also launch metrics where we'll be looking at beta testers, adoption, AI feature performance, you can name them. So for objectives, we're looking at gaining a fundraising experience. So as you're building, as it's looking at to scale your solution, the fundraising experience is a whole other sector too. How you get to connect with your investors, accelerators, and even your alumni mentors is very important. Um, and that is just it. So the curriculum modules are structured in this format in a very smooth way from module 1 to module 5, where we have module 1 foundations, like the CLI applications plus idea validation. Module 2, we have web and product development, then full stack prototype plus AI integration. Then module 3, we have sector projects, plus agile. Then here we go to team open source contributions plus business models. Then module 4, we're looking at scaling plus advanced AI, which leads you to coming up with a better MVP plus funding pitch rehearsals. Then module 5, we are looking at launching plus entrepreneurship mastery, which leads you to market ready MVP plus demo day. So the final deliverables look like this. So by program completion, we expect that each participant or each team will graduate with a personal portfolio where you'll have at least 3+ projects plus an AI case study, and then team build where you'll have at least a market ready MVP, which could be live plus a GitHub repository. Then also we're looking at 5+ open source contributions, and then also we're looking at pitch decks plus 5-page business plans, and then demo day presentations to real investors, and then um, a digital certificate plus a LinkedIn page. And that is just all around it. Very, very interesting. So this is a structured course outline to give you an overview around all this. And up to this juncture, I believe we are all moving well. So,
Yeah, I have a question.
yeah.
How long are we going to take to cover all of these?
So,